Hi. Tune into the feeling. Don't try to sound any specific way. Just find that feeling and embody it. Naturally, the voice changes to match the feeling frequency. Tune into the feeling. Don't try to sound any specific way. Just find that feeling and embody it. Naturally, the voice changes to match the feeling frequency. Think like when you feel very close and intimate with someone you love and care for. The way your voice shifts to become something that feels more felt, more lived, alive. More ... but this is from my... Wow, what an ugly color that is, but it's okay. It came in a pack with a bunch of other colors though, but it's my octaves. I don't know, octaves is the theme here. I love that little reminder of like, tune into the feeling. Don't try, for me that's about speaking and using my voice, communication, and it's like a lesson that I've been applying and integrating, and I wanted to share it. And I also feel like there's something that wants to be channeled through for you that might have something to do with that. It might have something totally not to do with that, but either way, I do feel that's beneficial because we're speaking about emotions and feeling, and you could take it an octave higher by saying that's your frequency, or that's a frequency that we really tune into. And before we get, if we might go in that direction, but I really do feel there's something that wants to be shared for you about emotions and feeling them and the repression as well around them. So it's not going to be a heavy message. It's a really I feel this empowerment and this guidance that, you know, might be coming from, it is coming from spirit, but like maybe some loving guidance that is surrounding you right now, and however that resonates for you. It feels like a father energy, like the signature, the frequency of father energy, like as an archetype, and that correlates to that divine masculine. And divine masculine is in every person, you know, just like the divine feminine is in every person. So that father frequency, I just feel like we want to start there, because there's something here about, it's like a twofold thing. It feels like it's about traditional beliefs perhaps, or like lessons, and I said lessons, but I really feel like you could say practice, or spiritual practice, or religion, or just like upbringing or beliefs. And the other side of this is that authenticity and that autonomy to choose, to make a choice for yourself, a new choice. And so it's twofold, because it feels like there is a bridging and an integrating that wants to happen through you, like right now in your life, in this experience, because I feel like you have been, you know, you've already gone through, I would say, this probably multiple awakenings where you've, you know, came up from the sleep, from unconscious, from the matrix, however you say that in your world, and you woke up and you decided to go in a new way, in a new path. And, you know, that took on its own things. It's going to be different for each person. But what I'm feeling is this sense of, we may have become attached to something that at one point in our recent journey was like is and has been so beneficial for us, and perhaps we have continued to derive benefit and personal, identity and a life built around a lifestyle that we have, or like a spiritual life. In particular, this is definitely about spiritual life and like the spiritual dimension of life and religion, and how that has influenced and shaped the person that we are today and our beliefs, because there's a message here that wants to come through again about like that father energy, which to me kind of is speaking as well as of something like a leader. And don't, like, a leader can be any, you don't have to like be, a leader takes the form, in so many subtle ways. Like if you're somebody who's living a life that feels authentic to you, and however scale, like whatever scale that manifests, in some way, if you're making decisions that are coming from a place of your truth, and you really had to find out what that truth is and embody it and live it in your actions, and organize your life in a way that is a reflection of those values, that's that father frequency, or that divine masculine balanced frequency. And whether you know it or not, that is like a frequency of leadership. And it's also implies in and of itself, like that implies attracting energies that would look up to that as a sort of role model or an example. Now that can take very obvious like forms. You could say like influence, or like people say influencers, but I mean, a better way I like to feel about this is you're a role model. And then on the other, it doesn't matter how much of an influence you think you have or whatever. Like you can be influencing your little sister, little brother, your cousin, your niece, your nephew, your friend's kid. Like it doesn't matter, or someone your age, like anything, right? But the point is if you're just attracting, you might not be aware of it, or maybe you are, but there's this presence in your life that is attracted to something of this frequency that you're embodying. And I feel that what wants to come through is, again, twofold. It's like this refinement of that frequency, and it's like the refinement in the way where we kind of continue to burn away the false, right? Get rid of the false, not get rid of, but burn away the false by seeing it. And to see what the false is in that frequency that you are right now carrying, we have to feel things, and that is where the integration happens of these two. Because the other part of this is there's something in you that like desperately, I want to say, is desiring to live a more free life, a more autonomous, sovereign life. Rightfully so. And I feel like there's a part of you that can't accept that right now, or hasn't been able to accept that, and there's a part of you that knows that you so badly want it, but like you're not allowing yourself to even recognize that. Because why? That's the inquiry here, that's the question here. Like the beliefs, the traditions, like the religion, the spiritual practice, or the lifestyle, or the friend group, or the lifestyle could be a good way to sum it up, because it's like even just a lifestyle can be enough to keep one trapped, even though they might think that, oh, I created this lifestyle as a, it's my creation, it's my freedom, but is it trapping you? Another way to put that, another way to look at this as well, is like, is it keeping you in a separate kind of state of consciousness where you are separate from other people, where you pity other people? And especially if you are in like this energy of like where you can understand, or at least on some level are aware that people do look up to you. It's like the guidance feeling that like kind of warm fatherly like feeling that I was picking up felt like it wants this to just impart this like very, very gentle, almost passive, which is ironic, but like, detached, kind of just like, I'm here, but like, do your thing, but like, I'm here, and we have some, we want you to succeed, is the feeling, and we also don't want to like push you into whatever. But it's this feeling of being very mindful of those energies that look up to you. And so that kind of requires you to take a moment to check in and to really value more so than the beliefs that maybe got you to where you are today, or brought you out of something that was not as good as where you are today, or you're like identified in this personality, whatever it is. And to not allow yourself to just stay as some shape of a personality. Because why? Because when we check in with the values that we really have, when we remember to do that, which is what this is that gentle reminder, like, wait a minute, we need to really check in with these values. And are we living by values that we understand in the moment freshly? Or are they just memories of things? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can think that we are living aligned with our truth, or think that we're living aligned with what we think is the right thing to do, but where does that come from? What is the real right thing to do? Who's holding you to a standard? Is it your own, or is it someone else's, or a group's, or like a past version of yourself? Now, the other thing with this is that we don't push any of it away. The repressing and the avoiding and the extremist kind of behavior, even the prejudice is a word that was coming through, like, because just to finish the thought from earlier, like, one feeling that is there that might be, it's just there, it might be causing some like discordance or some disharmony, is this prejudice or separation that's unnecessarily like being created out of just these unfresh perspectives. And it's like, we want to, okay, this is what it's coming to. It's like that divine masculine, or that fatherly energy. It's like that authority that we are trying to be for others, or even just for our life. But it might be based on like a system that was not ever authentically ours. It may have helped us come to where we are, and so we may think that it's ours, but it derives from somebody else's truth. And the message here is to no longer borrow truth from anybody, but to like integrate your experiences, which are unique to you, and to honor them, because in the honoring of those experiences that are unique to you, you are able to value them when you honor them, no matter what they are. And that takes, obviously it takes courage, like, to first of all feel your feelings, and then to honor them, and not be like, put them in a box as like one, something that's good and something that's bad. Like, that's just not how it works. And especially if you are like in a very literal, like direct kind of way, guiding others. To do this work is your duty. Like, that's probably the harshest kind of way we're gonna put it right now. That's what wants to come through. Yeah, I saw a praying mantis earlier, and I never ever see these, so that feels significant. I don't know if someone has like a thing, like that means something for somebody, but I did see that, and so I just felt to say that, and maybe that'll give you like a clue about like where this might be coming from. Okay, but to strike a very beautiful balance between that divine masculine and divine feminine energy in you, meaning that mother and father in you. And that means, oh my gosh, that means, I'm like, don't even really want to say what wants to be said, but it's like, that means what you don't think, okay? Because I was going to say, it's like, that means something that you like don't do what you would do. By me, when I say mother and father energy, you might have this like set of practices, or this set of like, this kind of routine that you do with that kind of work. And it might bring you a lot of comfort, and there's nothing wrong with that. We don't throw anything away. Remember, we're exploring and being curious and experimenting with the resistances that we feel, because again, like I said in the beginning, it's that feeling that there is this strong desire to not break free really, just to be autonomous in your life. And there is a sense that is just not okay, that is not allowed, or it's just not even acknowledged. And maybe some of you it is acknowledged, but it's just not allowed. It's just not given real, living, space, time in your reality. Like it's just not an option or something, but it is an option. And in fact, it is the way through this feeling that feels like you've been grappling with. And it is the way through because it's like the fear of it is not real. And we need to feel it. And we need to be okay feeling it and being in the discomfort of it, because what does this all mean? It's information for you. And it's like the emotions are going to give you such valuable insight and information to this perception of a problem or resistance or, disharmony in your life, however that's manifesting in your world. And I said it wasn't going to be deep, but it's a little deep, so that's what we do, I guess, so it's fine. But that reason why I said that is because there's this next feeling that wanted to come through right after I said it, which is this feeling of creation again, and like being new again, and being able to be new again, giving yourself that freedom, that choice to choose, like you're allowed to make a new choice. And there's also something here about like when we check in with those beliefs, and perhaps even go on an investigation in the sense of learning new things, like new ways of thinking, because sometimes it can be very difficult to penetrate into our belief systems, the limiting ones especially, that we feel very identified with. So it helps to like learn about how to think differently or how to feel differently or whatever. And especially if you're spiritually like inclined, the advice is very clear here, is to try something else. Not because what you're doing is wrong, but because you need a fresh perspective. You need a fresh perspective, and you need one that's going to shake things up in your perspective, in the way that it's like really just gives you permission to live differently, to experience life differently, even if it's just for like that moment you immerse yourself in somebody else's culture. And again, this will take away, or this will at least shine a light on that prejudice that has been there lurking, gaining strength as well. And we don't want that to gain strength, because again, if you're in a role any way, even if it's just one person that looks up to you in any way, and you're setting an example, it can be very dangerous to like have some complex of a personality like this, and then also be feeding a part of you that is separate, thinks it's separate, and create separation, and then looks upon others with eyes of like, from that place of lack and separation, and therefore sees lack, sees something to pity, sees something as like, less than, or not lucky, or blessed, and that's just never the case. And to see through the eyes of truth, your own truth, by the way, I mean, there's something about that, like it's like to see through your own frame. After you move through this integration, you will understand that there's like so much more beneath the surface of what we see in others, and you can then offer that, because people feel what you feel when you're in contact with them, especially if they have an affinity to you, if they are, if they admire you, if they look up to you, and if you in any way guide them. And to look at them and see, and to let's put it this way, to do the work, to integrate, and then to be able to see them through a new lens, they will feel the same kind of expansion that you're feeling, they will also feel too, because you're not going to be holding so many judgments up that you're projecting onto them. And it's okay. All is well. Like, this was not expected, but it had to be said. And I think that a lot of the times we don't hear, like, I think that we get the advice we need. we do receive it from so many places in so many ways. And who knows if this will be received? I hope, but it doesn't matter if I hope. I don't really know, but it is what it is, and it's just about your availability. And to really bypass that personal sense of like making it a personal thing, it's not bypassing it, but a way to really see through it is, again, to return to that question about your values and like being honest with the values. So if you do value, for example, being like the personality or the life that you've created, the identity that you have created, that you have cultivated, perhaps. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to say that, but there is something about this inflexibility, and right. So if we can honor it, if we can first of all acknowledge the fact there's this part of us that wants to change, and there's also this part of us that is more dominant that doesn't want to change. Simply, even in that recognition, that honesty, you are being, the doors are opening already in your heart, in your energies, like to where you can access more of a realer like sense of yourself. You can call it a frequency, your authentic frequency. The point is like not to resist what your truth is. So it really doesn't matter what it is. Like, that's a big message. It really doesn't matter what your truth is. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, or like conventional or unconventional, or acceptable or not, or if you're, gonna blow someone's mind, or like, as in like they might think like, whoa, what are you doing? You can't do that. Yeah, I can. It's my truth. And it doesn't matter. Like, the good and the bad kind of notions need to be set aside so that you can see what your truth is, because it does not matter what it is. All that matters right here and now for you in this moment is that you see it, and that you let it be what it is, like without the weight of the story, the narrative, the morality. Like, you can do that. You can do that. That is about your choice. Again, coming back to this choice, like you have that freedom to choose at any moment. So use it. So use it, because not only will that continue to help you break free from the illusion that you don't have any other option, it's like you're going to give others permission as well. And there is nothing for you to figure out. That's another message that needs to be said, because I think that whatever the situation is that you find yourself, whoever this is really for, I mean, it's going to be different, I think, for every person. But it feels like there's like a situation of some kind, and that's why it feels very difficult to step into a change, or to accept a desire to change, because it's like you think that there are, and perhaps there are, in that version of reality that you're existing in right now, there are people that are, seeing you in one way. But here's the thing: when you stop valuing what those projections are, and you start valuing what your inner truth is, and you trust that your inner truth can't lead you astray, you can trust that your inner truth isn't going to take you to like damnation. Like, that is the intensity that it feels like, where you are so afraid of your truth because you're afraid that it's not gonna, like, you're gonna let so many people down and yourself down. But we can't keep living from a borrowed truth. And we can for a time, and it has its place, and we can honor it still as we even continue to step away, or not even step away. You don't have to step away. You integrate by choice, moment by moment. And it's a process. And you don't have to tell anybody. And you don't have to make it this thing. Don't make it a thing. But just start inside yourself, making those moment to moment like pivots of, no, I'm gonna, when you have to make a decision, whatever it is, what are you, like, what you're choosing, like, what is that compass of the value? Are you still valuing appearances? Are you unable to like make a choice other than that for a while? That's okay. The work, the guidance is not to say like, oh, you're still valuing appearances, you're so fake, you're so this. No, it's to say, yeah, I am. I'm still doing that. Still doing that, but I'm at least noticing it now. And then eventually we get to a place where we realize we can do that again, right? Or we can, what else is available? Like, what else can we do? And that's going to happen spontaneously. And that's why the message is, it does not matter what your truth is. It does not matter. You just have to be there for it. You have to allow it to be there. Because it's already there. You just have to, again, allow it to be felt at wherever you can feel it today, right now. That feels really nice. And it's like, it's hard to hear this kind of thing. I know it is, and I don't blame you if you're like, if it's just not, if it's hard. But you are strong, and you also are manifesting this through me, because you need to hear something like this. You need to hear some sort of different way. And you don't have to suffer this change. You don't have to suffer this change. You might suffer the change, and that's okay. But eventually, you might come to realize you don't have to suffer it. And your intuition and the synchronicities that are in your life guiding you, I mean, maybe they're not guiding you, but perhaps they are there to guide you, and you can allow them to guide you. You can trust your intuition. There is a, like, tapping into that urge or that desire or that feeling to, have autonomy might be very significant, because there's so much information there for you. And again, the feeling about authority, and like, who is your authority figure? And if you think it's you, where do you derive your own sense of authority? Like, where does that come from? Where does that moral compass, like, where is it really in you? And why would there be resistance if it was like a full embodied sense? And also insecurity, and all these things. And it's okay, we go through life, like, we have to work through things, it's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. But my point in saying that was to help you tap into new emotions, or emotions that, like, from a new angle, so that you can gather the right materials, the right energies, the information there, to start really reflecting on those traditions, those beliefs, those systems that have been guiding your behaviors, your thoughts, your feelings, and the prejudices. Because again, it comes back to this thing that you are, perhaps, or this identity, or this entity that you're a part of, or whatever. And not that you need to throw anything out about it, but to just learn this is a lesson, I think, as well, that comes back to this energy of the integrating it, right? Where you're gonna, whatever you learn in this season, you're going to channel it into the very thing that you're afraid of losing or disappointing. You're not going to lose it. You're not going to lose it, right? When you're not going to, you might disappoint people, but here's the thing. You're no longer valuing these projections about a self-image or about a surface appearance. If it doesn't feel resonant, and if there's multiple, like, signs, then you gotta be the one to listen to that inner truth, and to set the new example and the new standard. And again, that message coming back, that it's not about figuring it out. It's not about figuring out anything for the future, or like trying to make it into something. Don't make it into something. Just let that happen. It will. Like, there's a dance to it. There is an ease and a flow to it. And you will not know what I'm talking about until you start to feel the emotions you've been repressing. And I'm going to end it right here, because on this note, because I think this is perfect, but we're going to end it with this advice for you, because this has been helping me. So pick one emotion or one frequency and journal every day, but do not do it mechanically. Do it in a way where you literally, like, sit down And before you start writing, if you can, feel into that theme, that emotion. For example, I've been doing this with gratitude, and we call our journal, our journals, we have multiple now, octaves of gratitude. So what that means, by the way, is like, as I've been working with this frequency of gratitude, which I'm still working with, but it went from just gratitude journal to octaves of gratitude, because I'm learning so much about just how everything is so connected. The beginning is in the end. A simple thank you, like, that feels like it's nothing sometimes when you're not really aware of that immensity of the frequency of gratitude, and like what that really means, and like where you're really at, right? There's gradients to frequencies, and there's like different intensities of the expression, and you learn that along the way. And so my point is, the lesson here, the advice is to work with one of these emotions for yourself, whether that's authority, whether that's honesty, whether that's prejudice, whether that's something else. I don't know. Look into your beliefs, to your feelings. What are you struggling to allow yourself to feel? Desire might be something. And journal about it through a feeling state in your body, and maybe also learn new perspectives. That was another thing. Definitely take the time, invest your time into different perspectives, different cultures and heritages and religions or spiritualities or cultures or whatever, in a real way that takes you out of that separation or that personal sense of like an image. It's really beneficial to do this with people that you feel, or groups or whatever, situations in general that you feel intimidated by, and really challenge yourself to continue letting that mask drop, and it will. And feeling your emotions, and you will. You just have to show up every day. And the camera is about to die, so we're gonna say that's good. And yeah, I know that this is gonna be for probably a very specific people, maybe person, I don't know, collective. But we trust it'll find you in divine perfect timing, as always. And bye. Thank you.